Hey, this is Angela Brooks, and I'm back with you. We're going to talk about branding you and finding your ideal customer. Get the page to flip. We're going to talk about your brand because I think a lot of people forget that they have a brand. It's not like something you have to develop. It's not something you have to build. You already have one. So you're going to need pen and paper with this one because you're going to need to take some notes. You've got some stuff to put in action, and I think you're going to like it. So my brand, most people know me as a retired nurse, a wife, a baseball mom, and how I built my business part-time on my lunch break at the baseball field, at the soccer field, and while I was still working a full-time job as a nurse. You know, what is it that you want to do in your business? What is it you want to get out of bed and do every day? You know, if we don't develop a business that we enjoy, that we have a good time doing, it's going to become a job. And who wants another job? You've already got one, or maybe you're like me and you're retired and you're wanting to do something completely different. Then let's design that so that you enjoy it every day as soon as you get up out of the bed. You got to do what you love to do. You got to teach what you love to teach. And who is it that you want to impact anyway? Get you a journal if you don't have one. I'm really big on this. I have a book that I do business notes in every day. If I've talked to leads, I have a page in there that people that I'm writing down that I've talked to. So if I don't write it down, then I think, oh, I've talked to nobody today, when actually I've talked to, 20 people. So I have a notebook that when I talk to anybody about business, even lightly mention, I put their name in my book. Anybody that I've connected with, or if I've got things that I need to get done in a business, I write it in my journal. These are things that you can go back and reflect on. Within the year, you will be amazed at what you actually have accomplished. Because when we're writing things down, we see them and it engages in our brain. Without it, you forget things real quick because our life is way too busy and we forget. I mean, we just truly forget. So get you a journal, write things in it. Okay, here's a little chart that I thought would help put the things in perspective for how I want you to look at your business. You are the center of your business. And if I take you out of your business, it's closed. There is no business without you. So here, you got to find out what you're good at, first of all. You got to find out what it is you love to do. And you need to know what the world needs. Who is it that you're wanting to impact? And what is it that people would actually pay you to learn from you? Most people think, nothing, when in fact, there's lots of things, lots of talents, lots of skills that you have. And I think it'll even surprise most people that they have something that somebody would actually purchase from them. But we've all got that. When you were a kid, this is something I want you writing in your journal, by the way. As we're going through this, I want you to take some notes, and this is something you need to get done. It's not something you have to redo. It's not something you got to rehash, but it is something you need to do in the beginning so that you know exactly who it is you're talking to and the purpose behind what you're doing. Rarely does anybody get into a business and say, I want to impact the world. In the beginning, we want to make $500. In the long run, when you get that 500 or that 2,000 or that 10,000, things start really shifting. And you won't know that until you've gotten to those different segments of business. But if you set this up and you know who you're talking to, then things become much easier to flow in the business. Because when you were a kid, what was it you always wanted to do, that you loved to do, when there was nothing else that you were supposed to be doing that you always did? That's a lot. That's a mouthful, wasn't it? What book or movie can you not pass up? Every time something comes up, a particular kind of movie, maybe with a particular kind of actor, actress, storyline, what book or movie can you not pass up? I don't personally like any kind of killing movies. I don't particularly like sad movies, but I really, anything with a lot of violence in it, I'm out. It really bothers me. That's something I divert from. I like good family movies. I like a book with a good storyline to it. I don't like, our world is full of enough sadness. So I go into movies and books to learn, to read somebody's biography. I want to be educated. I don't want to just be passively reading. I like to learn about people. If you were sick, if you're working a job, or it doesn't really have to be a job, but if you called in sick from work or a task that you were supposed to do, what would you call in sick to do or to be? Not just really, if you were just pretending, not you was just, pulling somebody's leg. You really weren't sick, but you would call in sick to do something. The few times that I called in, I was not a big person to call in sick from my job. I had over 7 months of sick time when I left my job that I had to use up. And we only got one sick day a month. So you do the math. I had 7 months and we generated one a month. So I was not a person who called in a lot. So I had lots of goodness to use if I needed. But the few times that I did call in, it was to go see my son play baseball or to see my son play soccer. It was something to do with my family. I never called in just to lay on the couch or to sleep in. I called in because I wanted to do something with my family. Those were my sick days. And that's the same as today as I work my business. Those are the same things that I like to do. So something about you that others don't know about you, but you love to do. That's something that you can actually use in part of your business. Is something that you love to do. You are the go-to person for what? Some people, they will call you for particular things. Maybe you're a good seamstress. Maybe you're a good cook. Or maybe you're a mom of 6 or 7 kids. I would definitely call a mom of 6 or 7 kids and say, how do you make this kid do that? Do certain things. But there are certain things that people come to you for, and you respond without even a second thought. These are things that you can use in your business. Understanding who your target market is allows you to focus on your strategies that bring more profit for less efforts. Your ideal customers are good fit to you, and what you have to offer makes it easy to sell because they're already looking for what you've got. So when you bring you and your passion and things that you love to do and you start talking about them, you're going to attract people to you, and that makes it an easy sale because they immediately have a bond and a connection. Then you can turn a blind eye to the people who are not a good fit for you, so that you can focus on those that are. And when I say a blind eye, I don't mean to literally ignore other people, but you're going to be focused on a certain group of people. But just like walking down a hallway, even though your focus is to get to the other end of the hall, to a certain door, to a certain spot, the people who are walking around you can still see you, and they're watching and paying attention to what you're doing. Even though that's not where your focus is, there's going to be people who notice and they'll step into that space. So you're going to be attracting people by what you're doing naturally. Much, much easier way to work business. If you are doing something you love, you're in your natural space and it's something you enjoy, you vibrate that good energy and people, they feel it and it draws them in. When you're not doing something that you don't enjoy, people feel that really quick. They know if you like what you do or what you do. If you don't, you can't hardly hide it. You may be able to for a little while, but not long. Who is your ideal client? Let's face it, without marketing that works, you have no business. Business feels hard if it's not putting money in the bank. And you've got to understand who you want to talk to, and it'll help you make every decision that you make, from your social platforms you use, to the message you speak, to the design of your blog. My mission is to teach people that they can do this business. This is a can-do business. You have to be willing to get uncomfortable. You have to be willing to learn something new, because you can't come into business, especially network marketing, without skills. There are skills that you've got to have. And those are the people that are fun to work with when they're going, I have no clue what it is I'm doing. All I know is I want a business and I've got things to learn. And when they're open to learn, oh, magic can happen. So we're going to get to know your clients. This is where you're going to write this in your journal. What do they want? What is it your client actually wants? This is where you're going to have to use your imagination just a little bit, and you're going to visualize some people. What is it they want right now? Because people's needs and wants, they change as we grow older, as we meet certain goals, they change. But what is the problem? An issue that makes them your perfect buyer is when you have the solution to fix that particular problem. A lot of people, because I'm a nurse, they come to me with different discomforts, and they want to know, what do I have that can help them support their body better? How can they feel better? How can they sleep better? How can they, be less stressed, or, for emotional health? They want to know, what is it you got? Because that's the niche that I've been in for so many years, that people still see me as a mental health nurse. So they are open to listening to my suggestions. So, how do they like to buy? Are they online shoppers? Are they mall shoppers? Are they Amazon? I'm a prime time girl on Amazon myself. I like to hit the buy button and say hello to my UPS man as he brings it to my front door. I'm an online girl. I don't like malls. I will go to the store if I absolutely have to, but I'll look on Amazon first. What do these people like to read? What are they watching on TV? And you can figure this out in a couple of stages, but these are kind of things that when you get this in your head, you can talk to them like regular everyday conversation without missing a beat. This is an educated guess with information you already know as you're starting to gather your customers. Some of them you'll know their pain points immediately, what they admire and where they like to gather to have fun. It's going to be like your best friend. You know just enough about them to relate to them, to be able to have, natural conversation. And that's what business starts out as, just good conversation. Then you start fine-tuning things. And in this stage, you're going to discover 3 things with the data that you collect. Your data is going to surprise you how much you can learn about people. Your highly targeted potential customers, they are exactly the people that you love to talk to. And it's like an old best friend that you haven't seen in 5 years, and you get back together and how you just chitter chatter. I went to Vegas 2 Februarys ago, and I got to see a friend of mine that I have not laid eyes on since she got on the plane in Italy 30 years ago. And as soon as we connected, we started chatting like we never missed a beat. It was fabulous. And that's the way your potential customers are. You're slightly different group. You've adjusted your description to the actual customer. You don't have it quite niched just yet. And then there's that third set, which is completely the wrong set of customers. They don't see the value in what you have to offer. They're impossible to work with. They come and go quickly. And you're hearing crickets in your market when you're blogging or on social media, or when you're trying to have a conversation. It's like time for a true overhaul here. If you've been in business for a while, then you can start with fine-tuning stage. You don't have to go all the way back to the very beginning. And as we grow in our business, you're going to fine-tune things anyway, because you get more focused. You learn your niche a little bit better. You start learning who it is really who values your opinion and your efforts. And those are the people that you want to spend your time talking to, because otherwise it is miserable having conversations with people who just half-ass like what you have to say. Learn as much as you can about them and what makes them tick. When you figure out what makes people tick, you can interview them. You can take them out to lunch if you're in the same town, not always literally. Look at the sales data and see if you can find common business types. If you're not using Google Analytics, write that in your notes, because you definitely want to be using Google Analytics. You want that hooked to your Facebook data. You want that hooked to your blog 100%. Focus on the people who buy on repeat and who don't hesitate. This is where you can start studying Amazon and how they market to get your attention. Start paying attention to things that make you pause, make you read. What made you come into this webinar? What was it I said that brought you here? Those are the kind of things you need to start paying attention to, because you're being marketed to every single day. Remember what things that triggers you, and you can also use that to trigger your ideal customer. I hope this is starting to make sense to you. Define your customer. This assignment, you're going to definitely need to be putting this in your journal, because as you are writing, you're going to be writing copy, whether you're writing a blog post, whether you're writing a Facebook ad, you're going to have to know who they are, their gender, their age, their income bracket, their employment status. Describe their needs. What do they want in their life right now? Most people want $500 to $1,000 extra a month. They don't want the $10,000 a month. Yeah, they dream about it, but right now in this space, they want the extra $500 to $1,000 to make life easier. When they got that, of course they would change their goal. Describe what challenges they have, what makes them feel desperate. At the end of the month, and they're looking at their bills and there's not enough month for the bills that they've got to pay, what is it that makes them feel desperate? Describe how they shop, online, offline, what kind of services that are related to your business that they shop for. Describe how you'll reach them. A lot of people nowadays like text. If I have a new customer that comes into my system, I send them a text message, and 90% of the time, I get an immediate response. I always send an email. Rarely do I get a response back from email when for a new customer that just comes in without having any contact before. Social media, huge. That's where I do, if I'm connected to them, or if I can go in and use their email and find them on Facebook, then I will send them a Facebook message as well. Email is still a very high usable system. However, when it comes to brand new customers, if I have their phone number, I'm going to text them first. And in that text, I'm just going to say, welcome as a customer, whatever they bought. And I may say, is there a time that we can get on the phone and chat for 5 minutes? That's where I'm going to connect with them. Don't blow this part off. You have to know who you're talking to in your market to really get good at what you're doing. Where are you going to find all this good data? It's right in front of us every single day. You have Facebook Insights that is collecting data that you can read about your followers every day. How old they are, what state they live in, what country they live in. Facebook is collecting data that you can use. It is priceless. Searching on Amazon for books that you like to read, and go down under every single book. You've got comments and reviews. That's why when people have books out there that they've published, somebody somebody you don't know, if you've read a book, go back and write them a review. As an author, those things are so important. Number one, it tells people about you. It gives other people an opinion about the book. If you know the author, it's even better to give, a personal testimony to that. Tell them what those book reviews tell you, what other people like and they don't like. You can use the negative. Most people freak out right here. They completely freak out over negative comments, but those are things that you can use to build a product to meet the needs of those negative ninnies. I know you're freaking right now. You're going, I don't want to talk to negative people. I didn't say talk to them. You're going to develop a product. You're going to write a PowerPoint. You're going to do a PDF. You can take those negative comments and write a positive product that's going to serve that particular problem. If it's in that book review, you can use some of those keywords for that book in a blog post, and you can even link it back to that book if you wanted to, because there's affiliate links that you can use in Amazon, so that anytime you talk about a book, you always link it on your blog with the affiliate links. If you're not doing that, you're losing money. What kind of products? Ebooks, videos, blog posts, status updates. Any of those are true products that you can do that cost little to no money to develop. You can read online forums. Oh my goodness. People go to online forums to learn stuff. They are looking for the solution to their problem. Social media groups that you're in, this is not where you spam people. This is where you can take it to private messages and say, hey, I read your post over in such and such group, and I just wanted to let you know, or see if you're open to, and tell them what you have to offer. Ask before you ever send a link. Do not send these people links. You're just seeing if they're open for the information. Then you go and you create the solution. You know, there's 2 search engines that I've got listed here that'll help you find popular forums that are good business forums that you can get into. Is omgili.com. You can put in your niche market, whether you're looking for stay-at-home moms, if you're looking for moms of triplets, or if you're looking for professional women. There is tons of things that you can search on. Boardreader.com is another one, to see if you can connect with people who are not customers. Go into these forums looking for their answers. This is a great place to hang out and reach out to people. This is not your sell spot. This is where you're going, hey, I just want to see if you're open. So don't go in with a mindset and slamming them with a bunch of links, because they'll think, oh, she's cuckoo bird. Okay, we're going to stop guessing. We now know all this good content. You're going to ask your followers wherever you are hanging out. It'll work. Use a survey. You can use surveymonkey.com to ask 3 to 5 questions to help you build your niche. Or you can, Google Docs is another one. You can build a free survey, forms there. Don't get disappointed when you do surveys that you don't get a ton of feedback. Use whatever you get. If you get 2 or 3, take those 2 or 3, study them, see how you can combine that, and write a blog post about it. This is where you get some really good feedback, good ideas that can make people feel like you're actually reading their mind. And in one sense of the word, you are, because you're asking them and they're giving you just enough information, excuse me, that you can build a product to serve that need. Keywords. Start paying attention to the words that pop out at you that make you want to read a page, or that want to make you purchase a product. Effective marketing speaks languages. Keywords in your network marketing or your marketing content is how Google filters people so they know who to send your way. Even on social media, Facebook does the same thing. They are putting people in front of you that are talking about similar things. And those are folks that'll say, hey, when I get a new person in on Facebook, I always ask, where did you connect with me? And it'll say that most of them will say it was on people that Facebook thought they would be a good match for. So they're helping you find people. Use that little filter to see if you can connect with those folks. Google Keywords tells you what are the most highly searched for words on a topic. Write down Google Keywords, and it takes a little bit of studying to use Google Keywords if you're not real familiar with it, but it gives you lots of data. If there is a keyword, you don't want to be using keywords that are really, really highly popular, because it's going to be harder to rank with that keyword. You want in that topic line, but your lower keywords that are going to get more attention. If, say, Nike is a big keyword, you would not want to use that and try to draw people to you because it's too published. You would want to narrow that down to Nike women pink shoes, so that you really narrow down the search of what people are looking for, not necessarily shoes, but whatever it is that your deal is. You've got to get real narrow so that Google can send you just the right people. Google is a power search engine. People underestimate what you can do with Google. And this little trick right here, anything that you Google, makes no difference what it is. You can scroll to the bottom of the page. Google has search-related keywords at the bottom of every single page on Google. If you are writing a blog post and you take these words, webinar definitions, webinar downloads, education, wiki, webinar, whatever it is, how to create a webinar, and sprinkle those into your blog post, if you can make those words work there, then it goes into this highly targeted. This is on page 1, as you see here. So Google helps you, but you got to know to look for these things. And this is a tool that once you start using it, you'll use it dozens of times. It is helpful to develop kind of imagination of imaginary character in the beginning, that you kind of give them a name so that you have somebody that you can relate to. A lot of people have writer's block because they're like, I don't know who I'm writing to. And they can't visually see somebody, so they have a hard time putting that on paper. But once they define a face or a fiction, a character of some kind, then it becomes easier because you're talking to a single person. And develop somebody that you actually like to spend time with, so that if you were sitting across the table, you would know, does she have, or she or he have kids? Do they like to drink coffee or tea? Are they married or single? This gives you an idea of how to talk to your followers. And as you learn this, you're going to be able to narrow that conversation down even smaller and just nail it down, because this is where you get super focused, laser focused into your business, and you will start seeing results because you're talking to people who are ready for you. Who is not your ideal customer? Reverse engineering is a very effective method to focus on your target. Consider those that are hard to talk to, or you prefer not to talk to at all about your business. I mean, it is your business, so you get to choose who you bring in. If you don't like certain people, why would you want to? Their money is not enough for me to work with somebody that agitates me. If it's a struggle, just keep on walking down the road. Don't even bother. And as you blend your business with those who you want to talk to, for me, for a long time, I was just talking to burnout nurses, moms, on-the-go women who wanted to build a business part-time to make $500 a month. Those are the people I was talking to, and I got their attention quick because I was a working mom. My kids were on the go, and that was my mission. I just needed the $500 to make the month a little bit easier. If we wanted to go out to eat, or if we needed some new shoes, or, something just so everything wasn't a budgeted struggle. That $500 makes a big difference to a whole lot of people. So don't be afraid to narrow it down who it is you want to serve. It is clear to talk to smaller groups is easier. People try to talk to too big of groups and they get lost in the topic. It'll also be easier for you to ask for referrals in groups that are more niche to you. I hope this is making sense, and I'm hoping that you're taking notes and you're getting some good content that you can use. Build a brand that is about you, what you do. Your social profile should have your face, not a company image, not your children, and your main profile picture should always be a good shoulders and above, clear picture that's that I would recognize if I saw you out somewhere. Because you and your unique skills are what set you apart from any other business. There's no other business like you. And this is where the attraction marketing gets really fun. So this is hard for some people to understand because it's the direct opposite of what we think we need to do, and it's keep your company a secret. You have to make a connection before you can sell. And I will talk more about this in the social media webinar that'll be coming later. But if you have everything about your company posted, and I don't have to ask you anything about what you do, or everything is, you're turning your Facebook page into a sales center instead of a connection center, most people just keep on scrolling because they don't want to connect with people they feel like they're going to sell them as soon as they get there. And most people who are doing that, as soon as somebody says hello, they're going to, let me tell you about my product. And that's not what it's set up to do. So keep your company a secret. Are you getting value out of this so far? I mean, let's see who's taking notes here. This is a good challenge. Go over to my Facebook wall and post one of your nuggets, just one nugget that you learned from today that you're going to start implementing, that you're going to start learning. Follow-up rules. No matter how you generate a lead, I don't care if it's Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, Amazon, I don't care where you generate them, at the grocery store, baseball game, wherever, connect with the lead. Just be conversation. See if there is a connection. See if you can determine the need. Go for no's. Go for no's is just fine, but just keep moving, filtering people, and a yes is coming, but you have to just connect with people to see if they're even open to what you have to offer. You don't want to ruin a good friendship by slamming your product out there if that's not what they're looking for. If I see somebody who is congested and they can't breathe, then I'm going to say, hey, would you be open to learning how I help my son when he gets in those situations? And most people are going, anything you've got. And it's an open conversation. They're ready to hear it because it's a need. Had that conversation today. That's why I used it. And I want to thank you. Thank you for coming and listening to this webinar. And I hope you like today's training. Hope you have a better idea of who you're going to be talking to. And you're not talking to just anybody. This is your business. You get to choose. So now understand the power of you and not a company. Your company is just, it's in your background. It's not in your front ground. You are the main part of your business. So I want to say attention to my current and future leaders. If you like the idea of working closer with me, and until this Friday at midnight, I'm offering 4 weeks, 15-minute sessions of personal one-on-one coaching time with me for anyone who joins my primary company. And if you like the idea of one-on-one, just me and you, and if you feel like more private session or private access to me is something that you would like, then let's talk more. And you can go to Angela at angelabrook.com and, let me know that you was here in this webinar. And let's see if we've got a connection. Let's see if there's something that I have to offer that maybe will work for you. And we will figure out which way we need to go. If you don't have the MLM Blueprint Secrets to Building Your Network Marketing Empire, run over to Amazon, grab you a copy. It's under $10. If you already have this book, please, please, please leave a review on my Amazon so that I can use your feedback for other people so that I can maybe write another book that will help those. Your feedback means a lot. The next webinar is going to be how to use social media to generate leads and get referrals. It's tapping into your network that you've already got. And with that, y'all have a great afternoon, and I will see you there.